All right. We
Seven.
want to talk about Severance a little bit.
We do. Yep.
Season 2 finished a week ago. I don't know that it packed the same punch as season 1. I think
The finale specifically?
no, the season, I think we were the 4 of them working in that room. We didn't get a lot of that. Which naturally that's going to happen. I mean, I watch Abbott Elementary. We just were catching up the other night, and they're like not in the schools, but that's what happens when you expand the characters and expand the world. You can have those episodes where they're outside a little bit. I mean, I still think Severance is a great show. I think season 1 was better than season 2.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
I didn't know if you were mocking me at first, because when we talked about Severance 2 weeks ago, Grant gave me a really hard time because I said, the thing I'm not liking so far is that I want to watch the 4 of them in their cubicle areas. And Grant's like, The Office, you can go watch The Office if you really need to see whatever. And I was like, okay. But
I did say that. That's
you
correct.
did. But because I was like, so that made me feel like, okay, maybe that's kind of a wild take. But now, Bart, I thought you were at first going to mock me for saying that, but it's like, no, that must be an independent thought that you also have, which is like they explored so much space outside of Lumen headquarters and outside of their 4-person cubicle area that I'm actually relieved to hear you give that level of critique, because that's what I wanted to see more of. The other thing I wanted to see more of, you know what? Let's talk about it this way. I'm going to give you an action on this. And I'm probably going to be a little bit more negative than the two of you. I'll say similar things to Bart. Great show. Love it. I'll say something that Grant's going to say probably.
I mean, it's literally the show I've been waiting my entire life for.
Is it a top 1, 2, 3 show for you of all time?
Well, I'm still, even though it ended weird, I still love Lost as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was at like 24. I made my personality. I'm not gonna put 24 out of the top 5. Like Breaking Bad and that shit was good, but I don't know that I was emotionally like I like Daredevil better than I like Breaking Bad. You know?
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So here's how I thought, and this is something I was talking with a different buddy about. I struggled with the pacing. I struggled with some of like the backstory episodes that could have been condensed a lot. So here's how I'll ask the question.
The Gemma one was perfect.
Sure. But I think
the Cobell one was not.
The Cobell one, and I kind of read an article the other day that talked about like that one, the Cobell one was like the lowest rated by a mile. But I think that one came right after.
That was like the episode of Stranger Things when 11 was out running around with this group of people that we never heard from again. Mm-hmm. Remember that one?
I do remember that one. If Severance season 2 was only 30% of the length and the other 70% was cut, it would have been a much better season. You could have cut 70% of season 2 and improved the quality.
No, I don't know that you can say it. See, I think the problem was for some reason we kept building towards the finale as if it was the finale. This was a season finale. There's more Severance to come. But for some reason, we're like, we need all these questions answered. And I don't think now when Grant made me text Peter Bukowski about this earlier today.
I did not make you text him. That's not what happened. That's not what went down.
What I had said was problems with Severance season 2 included being too cute, confusing us if the Ortbo was real or not. Like, was that real? Were they in a simulation? Because they were just there and it was exciting at first. And you're like, okay, I need some explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think later Devin was like, do you know there's a retreat? And we're like, oh, okay. Like, did they get in a van? Did they agree to do this? How did they get there? The Cobell episode being standalone, all the Cobell stuff is fine. If you're like interjecting it with another, like it just couldn't be the whole thing.
Right.
The Gemma thing could. The Cobell thing, no. A lack of the 4 together, and then no mention of Petey ever. Like,
yeah.
Can you just say his fucking name at least? Say the name Petey. You start over in season 1 and you're like, holy fuck, this Petey guy is in like the basis of these 4 episodes. He must be a very important character. And then he's just dead at a gas station.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I liked it.
So
None of the Audis knew Petey. None of them knew Petey.
But your central
Mark,
character,
even like Mark, even when she was like doing his brain, she's not like they like just wouldn't. They would just say the name Petey. I don't know if Mark would talk to Devin about Petey.
It's a bizarre critique, just in my opinion. But
I disagree.
It's fine.
Now I think the segment when Mark was talking to Mark, some of the Mark is I think Mark doing the recorder thing with that was some of the finest television I have ever seen. I was just blown away.
Do you guys watch the behind the episode thing after the episode?
I didn't until the finale. But I'm going to go back and watch them, but I always want to just like, okay, let me pause there.
Interesting.
But yeah, I did after the season finale.
It's just something that all of the creators were like, we've been waiting to do this since like the beginning or do something like this.
Wait, what? Waiting to
like
do?
Mark talking to himself in one way or another.
Oh, right.
The goats kind of have a lost polar bear feel where it's like, it wasn't really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They're just breeding goats to kill them.
Apparently, they're just sacrifices.
Because I saw one theory that Rickon is a goat.
Saw this one too. Yep.
By the way, where is he?
I'm good with less Rickon.
And where's Natalie?
I saw a tweet where it's like the Rickon thing is funny because Devin just also happens to live with a character from I Think You Should Leave. And that's just a part of the show. And I'm like, yeah, that does kind of sum up pretty nicely.
Here's my other, this is like the stupidest critique. There's no way those two click. Those two characters would not be married. Or That's nonsense. She would not.
She's more into Gemma.
She would not be into Rickon. Like that doesn't make sense for her. Right?
I don't know. You see a lot of like
they are way
you see a lot of girls that I see in high school that at the time I thought, man, they would never go for a guy like me. The guys they married, I'm objectively better looking than. And I'm just like, what in the fuck was I worried about?
I was more saying that the emotional compatibility of the two, but I
saw a plot that the whole plot of Severance would change if they had just one more security guard on the severed floor. But then I saw that Milchick like wants a lot, like they want this to happen. Like there's got to be they want them to explore. Milchick never really punishes anybody. You know, he's like, I think the Milchick thing definitely got more interesting. Him with that animatronic Kier was really good. The band came. So are they severed or are they like Milchick when they can just come down?
No, it sounded like they were severed because they were like, that's their job.
So they come to work, practice band, and then go leave.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. There's just a lot of them. It would make a little more sense if Lumen just had a band.
They were, I thought
the house band.
I thought the funniest part was how they were not deterred at all from what was happening around them. They're just still.
Well, it's probably the only thing they've ever known.
Yeah.
They were brought into this world to play the fucking drum and the trumpet. And they're like, well, that's why we're here.
I think if I would have watched the Gemma episode and the finale, I could have had the main gist of.
But that's not the point.
I'm not saying it's the point.
But what about we
so
haven't
many
even
people
mentioned
are
Dylan?
acting...
We haven't mentioned Irving. The Dylan scenes were, heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. Irving, who was he talking to on the phone? And what's Bert's deal? Still a lot of good questions there. I think what's interesting to note is where we're leaving off with season 2 is the innies are running around. How the fuck are they gonna how are they gonna be like where are Mark and Helly gonna go that they're gonna be happy?
They killed a guy. He killed a guy in the building, and they're like, let's just go hang out.
He did not mean to.
How are they going to go from out? Like, how are the outies ever going to want to be innies, and how are the innies ever going to want to be outies? There's going to be a real battle there. The last thing that outie Mark remembers is kissing Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy!
So right now, the last thing in outie Mark's life is kissing Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
Gemma doesn't know that Mark is severed. Does she know that she thinks that's Mark choosing Helly?
No.
And at one point, they told her your husband left and found another woman. They told her that.
I think this is an interesting question that I don't know is conclusive, but I thought I read that the actress who plays Gemma is under the impression that her character thinks Mark is severed and understands that there's 2 marks.
I don't know about that.
That's the actress's interpretation of, but that doesn't mean it's right. Sounds like they don't tell. So by who and what is Miss Huang? What is the deal here? What's our understanding of why is she there?
And why were those people in the first episode and then just never there again?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe
you just can't have maybe
Arrested
there
Development
for a little bit.
You just have maybe for an episode?
Yeah. You know what would have been really fun is if it like, I don't know why could it not have just been maybe Funke? That's the kind of crossover I'm looking for.
Yeah.
She's disenchanted with her life with the Bluth Company. She gets severed.
But again, we liked it.
We liked it. It's very interesting. I think much like Grant's
like, it'd be better if there were no podcast talking
that's exactly
about it.
right. It's a good take. It's a good
But
take.
here we are.
Here's the thing. And I watched it not live, but very close to live because Bart put me on it. And there are so many of us in the world who watched season 1 and just sat with it peacefully for 3 years. We're like, that's a cool show. Man, when season 2 comes out, whenever that is, I can't wait. It'll be cool. I can't wait to see what happens. And then all these people, and I don't blame them, binge it right before it comes out, and they start shitting their pants a month into the season because they're like, we haven't figured out anything. It's like, yay, some of us just hung out and lived our lives for 3 years, and we're like, that's a cool show.
Our favorite band got very popular. Our favorite band got very popular, and it's
not even like it's my favorite band. It's just a band that you enjoyed quietly, and then everyone's like, this is the best band, but this new song is not living up to my standards that I just set in the past 3 weeks. So take it this way, because we talked about this a week or two ago, and I told you, like, sometimes if you just got to surrender yourself to the creator of whatever you're enjoying. Like, do you trust and think that they are good? Then just try to get on the ride that they're leading. Okay.
Sure.
Even if you think the show is going too slow and it farted around too much with character development and but weren't they awesome at it? Like the visuals and the vibe, like Pete Bukowski's like, oh, all your generation wants is vibes so you can post memes on the internet. It's like, okay, it's not my fault that everyone's looking for something to meme. But like, doesn't this show look and sound unlike anything you've really ever seen before? You know what I mean? Like, even if they're just creating...
There hasn't been a theme song this good since Inception.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Game of Thrones is a better theme song.
I didn't watch that.
It's a great theme song.
What's your favorite television theme song? What's the best? Or intro?
Oh, baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
What is that?
Frasier.
Oh, I didn't watch Frasier.
I don't know what to do with my tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Oh, by the way, The Conners is back for its 6-episode finale tonight.
Yeah.
That's a good one, though.
How about this one?
No, I was thinking Home Improvement. What?
I had a buddy who told me initially he softened his stance on this, but he said, "Are you caught up?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Any Mark is an asshole." So let me ask you this: Any Mark is an asshole? Mm-hmm or mm-mm?
Who are you rooting for? Innie or Outie?
I don't know. Outie.
Outie. I don't believe the Innies to be real people with lives that matter. Okay.
Outie Mark seems more like Outie Mark lied. He's like, I started this reintegration for you.
Yeah.
And then he hung up the video and he's like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, he's not fucking doing it. Mark.
Oh, don't her voice is really tough.
It's awesome.
I don't think I like her at all.
I love every choice she makes in the show. Just an insane woman. There's a lot going on in her brain, and that's reflected in the choices that she makes as an actress.
Mm-hmm. They're good choices as an actress, but it's hard to like.
You're supposed to be conflicted about her. You're not sure if you can trust her, but you don't really have any choice. That's the whole point of the thing.
Outie Helly's dad has the villainousty voice ever.
I wish you would take them raw.
Sounds like Notebook Mike.
I just want that guy, that actor, to play a hero in something just for the absolute, like.
He's in Avengers Doomsday as the new Captain America.
Yeah. They just announced it 5 minutes ago.
So wait, how do we feel? Any Mark? Is this just
by the way,
is this a self-preservation for Any Mark?
Does Mr. Egan want to kill Outie Helly and keep Innie Helly?
Can you do that?
That's kind of what it sounded like. But then what if any Helly is like, all right, fine, I'll do it, but you need to keep any mark too. You know what I mean?
Like, how are they going to get out of there?
I need to know if you think that any Mark is an a-hole or not.
I don't think any Mark is an asshole at all. Any Mark is. So. I mean, these guys were born. You know what I realized too is I have an innie.
Talking about belly buttons?
No, there's this version of me when I get blackout drunk. That is a completely different personality than me. He's like more angry and just more like he's just like more angry.
Which is impressive.
I now look at my blackout drunk phase as that's my innie. I'm not to be held accountable for what my innie tweets. You mean one day I almost got fired because my innie was tweeting?
That's not fair.
I have to wait. You know how many mornings I woke up and looked at Twitter and was like, what the fuck did my innie tweet last night on my account?
So on Friday night, you were texting us what I thought was during your show. And then after a few texts, I didn't know that you were not on that night, this past Friday night. And I got the next day, like there weren't podcasts. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense now because he wasn't working because that was any Bart texting us.
What was I talking about on Friday night?
I don't know, but you could just tell it wasn't like you were like doing this on the on-air mid breaks or anything. It was, it was drinky Bart. I don't remember what it was, but I just knew the vibe was not okay. He's talking to people right now across the airwaves.
Yeah, because I remember.
Well, you probably don't want to.
I can't. But yeah, that was any Bart.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Audi Bart agrees. Audi Bart agrees with what I sent you.
Right.
But any Bart would be the one to say it.
Yeah, I got it.
Tim Boyle is a Titan. How about that?
That does change things for Cam Ward. Or
Anything else you want to say about Severance?
Nope.
Okay.
That's my new thing. I'm just going to give you.
That's why he asks the questions.
It was a binary. It was what's that? It wasn't a leading. What's that called? Because I try to do it with my kid now. I don't try to ask him yes or no questions.
Right. You want to give it
open-ended?
Thank you.
Did we just say the same thing at the same time, Grant?
Yeah, I think we did.
Open-ended questions. All right. Well, thank you for stopping into the Winklerverse. If you've only watched the Severance part of this, there's nothing else I can direct you to. You can go watch. We talk about Wisconsin sports. I'm a nationally syndicated radio talk show host. No one seems to give a fuck about me. I mean, I just like I was in the cab in Chicago and the score was on. Should I have been like, I'm on this station 3 hours a night? Then I was talking to Rami because I did a hit to end his score show. And I'm like, Rami, I'm on there. I'm like, I'm on the station 3 hours a night. Shouldn't I leave you like at remotes and shit? And he's like, let's not go that far.
It's not overly dissimilar from when on the Packers beat, I'd be in a random conversation and someone would say, I'm just really not like this year's team is like, and I'd be like, okay. Like they would talk to me as if they had like authoritative information. I'd be like, okay. Just cool theory, bro.
I'm always looking for that credit that I don't even want.
Yep.
I think I texted that to Carlos today because I was bitching about Adam Shine.
You ever seen BoJack Horseman, Bart?
No.
I watched BoJack.
I think you're very similar to BoJack in some respects.
Oh, that's interesting.
I said, I'm not looking for a bigger platform. I just don't like losers having more than me. That's fair, right?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Bye, dudes.
And we'll talk
Goodbye.
soon. Thanks for stopping into the Winklerverse.